Hello everybody, I'm Hoarder Gamer, and today I'm going to talk about PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. Earlier today, a lot of reports and little bits of news came out about Spider-Man, and an embargo came up. So a lot of more things could be talked about, including Game Informer, information that they have, and just things I've seen online, random from a number of different sources, including Caboose XBL, IGN, and basically I looked at the good and the bad of the new Spider-Man game, and that's what this is going to be. You can totally disagree with me, but these are the things I thought could possibly might be issues, and some things I'm really looking forward to in the game. Do not get me wrong, this is a game I'm very much looking forward to. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham series. I like most superheroes, and unfortunately, though I like most superheroes, they don't always get the best games. But yeah, this looks probably like the best Spider-Man game we will ever see, until maybe they do a sequel. Okay, anyway, we'll start with the bad. Enemy hideouts seem to be wave-based monster closets. My problem with this is that nothing breaks immersion more than wave-based arcade-style gameplay. So you kill a few enemies and it's like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. And to me that just pulls me out of it, especially if the game has a storyline and that storyline leads me to do these things. It reminds me more of the optional challenges you could do in the Arkham series, where yes, that seemed arcade based, but that wasn't really part of the story. It was kind of an outside thing, not in the actual, technically like in the main game. Even in Arkham Knight, it was like there were holographic walls around you and everything was a hologram. So, okay. My hope is that it's going to be organic and not too monster closety. My hope is you'll actually see like doors and enemies will come through those doors, through windows, or enemies will just be there already, It's not going to seem like real fake. Because I just have an issue with that. One of my biggest pet peeves are monster closets. I talk about it all the time. Okay, so I mentioned in their arcade style gameplay. So back to that mention of arcade. What is up with all these tokens? In order to unlock new spider suits, you have to collect tokens, and there's 5 or 6 different types of tokens, including research, landmark, and a number of other ones. I believe criminal, I think, is one you get for stopping crimes and stuff. It makes me think that earlier in the development cycle, they were experimenting with microtransactions. Luckily, I'm happy to say there seem to be none in the final game, and it's also backed up by what Brian Intihar has said in the past. So here it's just, I feel that it might be a little bit too much having all these different tokens. Maybe 1 or 2. And a lot of people, there's going to be complaints that this game is a collectathon, and with things like backpacks, tokens, and all this, I could definitely see how people could think that. Okay? Now, to get research tokens, it seems you have to do one of 2 mini games at the place of work that where Peter works, basically. And my question is, are these mini games fun at all? And what if they become too challenging? Supposedly they're like puzzles. So what if you're trying to get these research tokens and it's just too challenging, and does that just mean you can't get a whole mess of the suits? Because again, to unlock a number of the suits, you need to have these research tokens, This isn't an end all be all, nightmare situation here, but it's disappointing if that's the case. Yeah. Because a number of suits are actually mentioned by name and what kind of tokens you need to unlock them. And a few of those did require research tokens. Now, this was a surprise to me. Certain indoor locales do not allow for web swinging or other spider abilities, even if the ceiling is 25 feet high. I figured if the building was large enough and it would not be a problem, Obviously, it's not like going down a city block for most buildings, or a number of blocks like it would be like in the free roam of the game. But I'm a little surprised. I'm a little worried that certain things might be a little bit too limited in the game. I don't know. I haven't played it, so this is the first mention of anything like this that worried me at all on this type of thing. And Side activities and missions are locked behind something akin to the radio towers in Far Cry. In like the Far Cry series of games, we have to climb radio towers and basically get everything on the map to show up in that little area. Assassin's Creed does it too. And I kind of thought as games were being developed and what we're looking at now in current gaming, that was a thing of the past. Even Far Cry 5 makes a joke about it. So, again, this isn't like don't buy the game or anything. That would be insanity. But it's a little disappointing to see something old like that, that I thought we were past, And apparently the world map is static until you go and, unlock this radio tower type of thing. I believe there's a mini game that Peter has to do in order to like unscramble something. And what's funny is they mentioned that gameplay for doing that using the control sticks, and it sounded to me like in Arkham where you're trying to decipher messages and things as Batman. So one thing I can say about Arkham City, when I started the game out, I went kind of exploring the world. I didn't just follow immediately and go over to the courthouse. I looked around, I saw the, Joker's men and the other criminals' men. They're like little separate gangs and stuff walking around. You could hear cool things happening via audio, helicopters overhead. And until you get to an area where people have guns, right at that early beginning of the game where that's nearly lethal for you, it was really neat. And you got to explore that, and it seemed like a living world. So with this whole thing about the radio towers, is that going to seem like a living world? Is it going to seem, anything like even like Red Dead Redemption did or Grand Theft Auto? I'm interested to see that, And if the map is static, does that mean like even if you find the thing, you can't interact with it? Even though it's there, it's not there? I'm not sure. Okay, so of course I have a number of good things that I'm looking forward to the game. Okay, so based on the side mission that was mentioned, it sounds like they're going to be worthwhile and well thought out mini adventures, not an unpolished and rushed afterthought. So that's cool. I was a little worried about the side missions and what those would be like. It definitely doesn't sound like they're just fetch quests or anything, which is really neat. Sounds like there's going to be many spider suits to unlock. Sounds like a fun and productive collect-a-thon. I say that because I mentioned all the tokens. And that's going to be a lot of collecting, backpacks, and so much collecting. But yeah, I mean, the suits, they have different abilities. And supposedly you can take the ability from any suit, slot it into a different suit. So that's really cool. And that's something I think will get people playing the game long after it's out, even once they're done, done with the campaign, The stealth areas sound exciting, and gameplay featuring switching between Peter and Mary Jane sounds like it'll definitely break up the monotony, especially like the Mary Jane stealth and the idea of like they should briefly show like Peter going through like grating and ductwork, crawling down like with like an actual spider. That's been in other games too, but it looks really, really good here from what they showed. Let's see here. Animation movement, which you've probably seen if you've seen any of the trailers or anything. Even now it looks even more extremely polished. More animations, definitely. Because one of the first issues, I think with a very early trailer, it looked like Peter just did the exact same animation over and over as he was swinging. That's not the case anymore. Also, you can do tricks in midair, which looks pretty cool. It honestly looks like swinging through Manhattan's going to be a joy. And although, again, with that static map, until you find those towers or those tower-type things, it'll take a while to see where we're actually going. Combat looks intuitive and varied, and the skill trees make it sound like you'll be able to specialize your Spider-Man experience to some degree, which I do like. I do like the fact that there's like 3 different trees, and you can basically kind of create the Spider-Man that you're looking to have. Now, of course, after the awesome E3 presentation at Sony, they showed the villains, and we have a great roster of villains. We have at least Shocker, Vulture, Electro, Rhino, Kingpin, and Scorpion, and that should help round out the game. When Mr. Negative was first mentioned, in all honesty, I was worried that maybe, Marvel only let Insomniac use newer and mostly unknown baddies. And my hope is to see Mysterio or Doc Ock. Hell, we could also see the birth of Green Goblin. That's not an impossibility. Because I believe supposedly this is before there is a Green Goblin. He's just Norman Osborn. But maybe that's the point of this game. Maybe he's the sixth member of the Sinister Six that was on that rooftop. Although it could very well be Doc Ock or the Lizard, Kurt Connors. I'm happy with any of those choices, to be honest with you. I would love to see Mysterio, though. It's so much fun. And Mysterio always has, like, that whole craziness behind him. Like, what's real? What isn't, Spider-Man? And, that awesome look. I'd love to see how they reimagine his look for this game as well. And he can almost have, like, Riddler type, gameplay. Like... Oh, my apologies. I'm not thinking correctly. Scarecrow type gameplay, like from the Arkham game. Especially Arkham Asylum. I think that'd be really awesome. I don't know if he's gonna be in it, but I'd love to see him in it. And we had the good, the bad, and the ugly of a Ben Reilly Spider-Man suit. I'm just kidding. I never got into the Clone Saga. A good friend of mine loves the Clone Saga and has been like collecting all the issues and everything. But I just never got into it. Even though I love Spider-Man, that was a point where it was like just a little too much for me. And I was like, I don't know about this. Well, that's about it. I want to thank you all for checking this out, especially with the amazing amount, pun intended, of Spider-Man videos there are for the PS4 game. And a lot of them are going to have footage and everything, but I like to have a conversation, Yeah, this was written out, so just because there are a lot of details I did want to hit and make sure I hit. Some of my videos are sort of more like off the cuff, but I didn't want to do that here because I was worried I would miss too much, and I'd be like, damn it, I have to redo that, and I don't think that would be a one-time thing. I think that would be something I would have to, like, do a few times. But yeah, thank you very much for checking this out. I'm Hoarder Gamer, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.